I love you. I care about you. I'm thinking about you. And I want you to still be a part of my life. What is up, guys? My name is Tequila, and welcome back to the Wonderfully Made in Christ YouTube channel. I'm so glad you're here. I make videos about lifestyle, faith, and a fun little fashion video here and there. So if any of that floats your boat or suits your interests, please consider subscribing to this channel. You know what? Just go ahead, hit the red subscribe button so that way you never miss out on a video every single time I post. And if you end up enjoying this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out. That really helps this channel to grow, and that really shows me that you're enjoying my channel, but as well as you're enjoying this content. And so anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video for today. Also, make sure you hit the bell so you really don't, because sometimes you hit the subscribe button, but you're not notified. So make sure you hit the bell so that you're notified every single time I post a video. And let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about how to maintain adult friendships. So I am an adult now. I am out of college. I am living my post-grad life. I am a working girl. So anyway, with the new stages of life come new challenges. And I've talked about this before on my channel. Definitely go and watch the other videos that I've made about friendship. I may put some of those up here. But anyway, so go watch those videos. But anyway, with new seasons of life come new challenges. I feel like especially in the area of friendships. I've said this before, but when you are younger, when you're in high school or just grade school in general, your friendship community is built in ultimately. Like, you have friends who you just see every day because you go to school with them. So therefore you spend like 8 hours of your day with these people because obviously you go to school 8 hours a day. Or especially as you get older and you join different groups, you see these people at cheer practice, dance practice, band practice, soccer practice. And because of that, your friends are kind of like built into your life because obviously you have like a commonality of insert the blank of whatever sport or activity or art that you're in. So in those ways, it kind of could be easier to make friends in high school. And kind of similar to college too. I know it can be a little different. A long time ago back in the day when I was actually in college, I made a video about how to make friends in college. But I'm thinking maybe it would be good for me to make another video about that. Just because I'm not in college anymore. And so I could share with you the wisdom that I've learned from, fully being in college for 5 years. So undergrad plus my grad school, that was 5 years. So now that I've completely experienced that, I have kind of, also too, insight for how to make friends post grad life. So anyway, what I'm saying is I think it would be helpful maybe if I made another video about how to make friends in college. So if you would like that, please let me know in the comment section below and like this video. But anyway, right now we're talking about how to maintain friends in your adult life. But what I was saying about friends in college, yes, it is a little bit different. And I will go ahead and admit that it is different because all of a sudden you're pulled out and you're in a new environment. And a lot of times you don't do the things that you did when you were once in high school. I mean, there are people who do sports in college, but it's not like it's like the norm as much anymore. It's because it's not. Most people are just like everyday students going to class, maybe working part-time and just trying to, get their degree. So it is different. However, where it is a little bit helpful is that you're around so many people who are the same age as you. And so with that, it can kind of be a little bit more easier to make friends. Also, there's so many things offered to you in college. Like, yes, you maybe don't want to take the time to do sports officially, but there's intramural sports in college. There's all different types of clubs. There's art club, drama club. There's so many different Christian clubs and ministries. And there's just events that the school puts on for you. At least this is how it was when I was in college. I'm not sure if you're in college, if you're watching this, I'm not sure like where you go to school. But at a lot of big schools, there's so much offered. There's like disco night, karaoke night, different cute little self-care nights. There's so much offered. Therefore, so many opportunities to make friends and get to know people, you know, who may later become your friend. But when you leave that scene and you go into the real world, you kind of don't have that in the same way anymore. So this is not the case with me. My situation is a little different. But I know for a lot of people my age, they're the youngest people at their job. For some people, it's like they're the one of the only few people in their 20s there. Everyone else maybe is older than that, is in their mid 30s, 40s, older than that. That's not the case with me. It just happened to work out that a lot of people at my job are in their 20s and even younger than me. So I have plenty of people there who are around my age, basically, is what I'm saying. However, so that's one thing that you may go up against. Not that you can't be friends with people who are older than you, because that's one of the cool things about adulthood is after you get older, it's like the age component doesn't matter as much anymore, and you will become friends with people who are younger than you as well as older than you, because you're still in a similar stage of life. You're in a working stage. So that's one commonality, no matter how old you are or young you are, that you have in common after you become a full-grown adult, which is really cool because it just connects you with more people. It's really cool because it connects you with people that otherwise you probably wouldn't have been as connected with, you know, obviously as a kid, and then even maybe like in being in college ultimately. So that's something I feel like is really cool about adulthood. But anyway, so moving right along. So as I just mentioned, for a lot of people, you know, obviously you do tend to make friends with people who are in your same sphere of life. So who are around the same age as you, who maybe do like a similar work that you do, who, if like you're single, they're single. If you're married, they're married. If you're married with kids, they're married with kids. That's just kind of a fact of life. Of course, I mean, I have friends who are in different seasons of life from me, whether it's any of those things I listed, like they're married, I'm not, they have kids, I don't, they're younger than me a little bit or older than me some. I do, but ultimately we do kind of tend to bond over those commonalities. So that's one thing it might be harder for you to do, is, you know, after you graduate, it might be harder for you, depending on, you know, the season of life you're in, to bond with the people who are around you, because maybe they're just in a different season of life. So maybe you're a young single person straight out of college, but everyone around you is older and married with kids, you know, just different season of life. So that might be something that you come up against. Moving right along, I think we've talked enough about that. Moving right along, another thing that's harder is not so many things are just offered to you in adulthood. It's like you go from having all these things, sports, activities offered to you in college, high school, and below that, to where now you kind of have to create different activities yourself. So that's something we're going to talk about too later in the video, of just basically how it's important to, you know, one way to make friends is make friends and maintain the friendships that you do have, is to find people who have some type of commonality to you. Whether it's you like the same author and you want to read a book together, you both like concerts, you both really like racquetball. I don't know, but that is kind of just a little helpful side tip. So anyway, I just wanted to share all that to say how ultimately it can be hard to make friends and it can be hard to maintain friends as an adult. But anyway, I want to get into more of the meat of the video. Here are some ways to help maintain friendships as an adult. So number one is phone calls. Me and my friend, we do a phone call every week, and I feel like it's just really beneficial for both of us. We've just both talked about like our own struggles with finding friends and like having friends in the places that we live, because we both live in different places now. And so I love a good phone call. I think phone calls are great. It's always nice to hear the other person's voice on the other end of the line. And phone calls are just a great way to catch up and just show your friend too that, hey, like, I love you, I care about you, I'm thinking about you, and I want you to still be a part of my life. And that, of course, needs to go both ways. Like, you need to call your friend, and of course, your friend needs to call you ultimately. But I think it's just, I feel like technology in some ways is such a blessing, because obviously back in the day, way back in the day, before we had phones, like, people couldn't call people. You had to write letters and then wait for that letter to get to that person. And so, yeah, it is a blessing that, we do have the technology that we have today, to where obviously we have FaceTime so we can see the other person, and we can call the other person or text the other person. There's so many ways, different avenues that you could still stay connected with the friends that are in your life. So definitely, I encourage you to have a phone call, but if phone calls aren't really your thing, like, send your friend a text, ultimately, just showing that you care about them and are thinking about them. Or just, everyone receives love differently. Some people really like handwritten cards. I like handwritten cards too. And maybe your friend isn't much of a talk on the phone type. Which is fine. Some of us aren't. Maybe send them a cute card showing them that you were thinking about them. Or we're going to talk about this maybe a little bit later, but I do think it's really important to spend time with your friend in person if you can. Even with me and my friend, like, she was one of the friends that I went on the trip to Tampa with. If you haven't watched that video, definitely go watch it. It should be posted, hopefully, by now. If not, it's coming out. But anyway, it's important to make time to spend time with your friend in person. So I think one thing that could also be cool too is going back to the commonality piece. If you guys both like pickleball or something, which is super trendy nowadays. If you both like tennis or pickleball or some type of sport or whatever, it doesn't even have to be a sport. Maybe you can like find time to do that together. Your friend really likes a certain music artist. You can get concert tickets, and then like you can go to that concert together. But also find ways to spend time with one another. And also, if you can't really always physically do that, find ways to still check in on one another. So that's my tip number one, is just it was to have a phone call, but I would say my tip number one is to find ways to check in on one another, whatever way works for you and that other person. My tip number two is to find commonalities, or maybe you already know these commonalities if you've been friends with this person for a while. I'm assuming you do. And then do things to where you can enjoy the same things that you have in common. So I just mentioned like multiple, like you like the same music artist. Go to that music artist's concerts. For me and my friend really likes to read. I like to read too. It's something I'm getting more into. I think she's definitely more an avid reader than I am, but we ended up reading some of the same books together, and that really helped our conversation as well, because sometimes, I feel like you maybe talk to or you call someone and you don't know what to talk about, but if you're reading the same book, now this gives you something else to talk about with your friend. So that's one thing that we did. But yeah, I just encourage you, like, focus on the things that you and your friend have in common, and then do those things together. And like I said before, like, me and my friend don't live in the same city. If you're in that same situation, like, some of the stuff you can do, like, via technology. Like, you can read one chapter of the book and then discuss that chapter together. You can, nowadays with Zoom, you can actually, like, watch movies together, like, where one person shares the screen, and, like, you, like, and your friend can still watch a movie together, even though you're not physically in the same location. Low-key, I don't know, this is something that came to me. This isn't about dating, but low-key, if you're in a relationship that's long distance, I think a lot of these would low-key work for that. Because obviously you want to still find time to, like, spend with that person, but you can't spend time with that person as much physically because you don't live in the same place. You're welcome. If you're in a relationship that's long distance and you're looking for some ways to still spend time with each other, or you know someone who is, maybe send them this video, because I think this is some pretty helpful advice. But anyway, getting back on topic, there's plenty of things that you can do with the person that doesn't require them or you physically being there. And again, going back to the commonality, find something that you have in common, or look at what you have in common, and then really make that work for you ultimately. And I feel like this is something as well that can help you and your friend stay connected ultimately and help you maintain that friendship. And last but not least, I think even if you live apart from each other, it's really important to find just time that you could spend together. That's what me and my two friends did the past couple weekends ago when I went to Tampa. I live somewhere, they live somewhere, but they met up at my house and then we drove to Florida. And it was great. I loved it. I really like road trips personally. I just really like, it's just really something cool about like you yourself are driving to a place ultimately. I like flying too, definitely, but it's just something cool just and rewarding when like, okay, like finally we made it. And it makes me treasure just the being there. I think all the more the fact that, it took some time, but we made it ultimately. And so, yeah, that's what me and my two friends did together this past couple weekends. But anyway, even if you live states apart, I would say definitely just find time where you could spend with one another. If you're a teacher like me, you can use your spring break time or your winter break time or your summer break time. And if you're not, it might be a little bit harder, but I think it's okay to use some of your PTO to still spend time with your friend, or hopefully, we have weekends. Hopefully, I know some of us work on the weekends, but if you're fortunate enough to have a job where you don't work on the weekends, maybe just take a weekend to like just spend some time with a friend that you haven't spent time with in a while. And a little bit of time is better than no time. And if you really do things right, you can make a whole lot out of a day. Like a full day, honestly, is sometimes so fulfilling ultimately. So even though your time might be short, you can still definitely make it count. And so a couple other tips for you guys about spending time together in person if you do live a little bit closer. One thing I thought was really cool, I heard Jenny Allen, actually, the art author and speaker, Christian teacher, say this, is how basically she just she makes time for community in whatever way she can. And basically one time she talked about just having people run errands with her. If she needs to run errands, maybe she'll take a friend or someone with her. And I think that's a good tip. And that if you live close enough to the person. Another thing she said that she did was just looking at people. This goes back more into the making friends category, or maybe already you were friends with this person, but basically maybe her kid has dance or some form of activity. She would take time to talk to maybe at least one other mom that's there. And so I think that's a good tip when it comes to making friends or maintaining the friendship that you already have, because maybe both of you guys have a kid who is in dance. And now, yes, your kid is in dance, but this is also just a good way to catch up with the friend who also has a kid in dance and just to maintain that friendship. And then another tip too I have for you guys, this is actually not in person, but ultimately a tip I think is really good is when you are driving a long distance. That is an excellent time to catch up with a friend, because ultimately you're just driving your 5 hours, 4 hours, 3.5 hours, 2 hours, whenever. I think that's a great time, because obviously you're going to be focused on driving. It's not like you can really do a bunch of other things while you drive, really, except for maybe, listening to something, listening to podcasts, listening to music. But I think that's a really good and special time to catch up with a friend. And anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that we gained something out of it. If you guys did, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button showing me that you enjoyed it and you like this topic and you like this content. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button if you really like this content, if you like what I've said. I really appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell so that you're notified every time I post a video. And definitely check out some other of my videos as well. I really enjoy doing this, and yeah, obviously I feel like these videos are made with care. And that's the cool thing about YouTube is no matter unless YouTube one day gets taken down, which we don't know, but whatever. But it's there's YouTube videos that have literally helped people that were made 12 years ago. So I just think that's so cool and just such a powerful, I feel like YouTube and just other platforms like this are really powerful in that way. So anyway, what I'm telling you to do is definitely go and look at the old videos that I've created, look through them, watch them, maybe find one that suits your specific situation. I have quite a few of them nowadays. So yeah, find one and tell me either through Instagram or on here just which one you watched and which one you really enjoyed, or the few that you watched and you really enjoyed. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Anyway, remember that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Until next time, I love you guys. Bye.